Ms. Sulochana Ragunathan has been involved for many years in the Sri Lankan peace process and reconciliation work. She is a senior lecturer in English and Management at the London Business School and was a consultant to CORD Sri Lanka. She was also a director at the Foundation for Coexistence and was the chief librarian at the Jaffna Public Library. She was a librarian at the Jaffna Library at the time of the unfortunate burning of the library. Her commitment to reconciliation and peace has only grown since, and she has spent much of her life dedicated to this. Currently, she serves on the boards of Sri Lanka Unites, Sahajivana Centre and Knowledge City. Despite being impacted by prejudice and hate, she is committed to a life pursuing healing, understanding, non-violence and reconciliation. In an era where many who were victims of hate retaliated with violence or abandoned hope for the country, Ms. Ragunathan has valiantly served for the cause of reconciliation and inspired many of the younger generation.
Welcome back to Sri Lanka Unites TV. We are here with the Outstanding Role Models TV series. And we want to thank all of you who have joined us throughout the day as we've listened to these inspiring stories of individuals who have contributed so much to this country and continue to serve. And we hope that our young viewers will be inspired by their lives, their stories, and even their encouragement to you. I am now honored and privileged to have with us here in the studios in Colombo 4 at our Sri Lanka Unites official studios and our headquarters, Ms. Sulochana Ragunathan. She is an amazing individual, a civil society servant who has served Sri Lanka for many years. She was also the director of the Jaffna Public Library when the unfortunate incidents of it being burnt down took place. But she has continued to serve Sri Lanka despite a lot of difficult situations, and we are honored today not only to recognize her as one of our outstanding role models, but to have her here in our midst. Thank you, madam. Thank you for being here.
Welcome.
I really appreciate you taking the time, and I've always been very inspired by your story and how you continue to serve. Even now, before we went live, you were talking about new initiatives of what you're trying to do to help the communities in Sri Lanka. I want to begin by going to your roots. How were you drawn to this kind of work of serving others, being interested in not just self but other? And what were some of the role models and people that inspired you to be who you are today?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me here. Actually, coming in the background of Jaffna, working at the Jaffna Public Library, going through the burning and witnessing, and also the process that I have been going through to rebuild made me to come to a decision to move out of it and then try to save the children as well as the people who were undergoing this ethnic problem. So first of all, I must say there were a lot of people who inspired me. I was very well inspired by Mahatma Gandhi because I have been reading his books and listening to his speeches, which really made me to get inspired. So when one individual can save a country with the prayer as mantra as non-violence, why not we practice at least for certain extent? That inspired me, to be very frank. So working in that environment, going through lot of, facing lot of hardships, what it went through.
Yeah.
So coming back from that background, it made me to come out to Colombo after finishing, serving, rebuilding. And when I came, I joined the Foundation for Coexistence and then started to work with the conflict resolution programs to introduce early warning, early response system all over the country and to reduce the war wherever the region we were working. So it actually made me to come into this field. And of course, there were a lot of people to back me up and then say, yes, you go for it, including my parents, my friends, everyone. So with the backing of that, I was able to join and then take ahead all the projects that I undertook.
Wow. So when you witnessed that horrific incident, it's a historical incident in our country's history. As the director of the Jaffna Public Library, you see these mobs coming in, the library burns down, the historic and the national heritage, or the regional heritage that was. How did you not become bitter and hateful and angry? And how did you not join the millions of people who just left the country because they just couldn't bear it anymore?
Exactly. If that was the motto, definitely we couldn't have developed anything, because Jaffna Public Library, as far as the Jaffna citizens were concerned, they treated it as a temple. They never even thought it's a library. So they felt it is their temple for them to protect. So if I had thought through to leave the country, and who is going to be there next to take it over? Here I must mention, when I was doing my second year for my compilation, I took the Jaffna Public Library, the rare collection, because I was inquisitive on one side, I must be frank. So when I went through that as my bibliographical compilation, I found there were lots and lots of oleolith manuscripts, nearly about 12,000, and it was the history how the Jaffna was named as, in Tamil we say it as Yalpanam. So that particular history where the normal common man didn't understand. So he can't read because it is written in a different language. So looking or going through that, I felt I should be alive for me to bring it out to the world, the exact history that happened in Jaffna northern part, so that the future generation will know. So that made me to decide to stay back in Sri Lanka, work for the real cause. So that inspired me in a way. So while compiling, I came across quite a lot of rare books. I can give you a lot of examples if we are not running short of time, but there were some oleolith manuscripts which said there was from northern part of India. A vendor came over to south, and then he had come over to Ceylon at that time. He didn't know that it was another country. He thought it was part of South India. So he was tying a turban and having a yal in his hand and playing the music. So the northern part of the Ceylon were recognized as Yal Padi, because he sings and asks for Pani always. Pani means water in Hindi. So the south part of the Ceylon people were saying, when they were referring to the north side, they would say Yal Pani, because the guy who plays the Yal, along with he asked for Pani, so they joined both and named that area as Yal Pani. But in Sri Lanka, according to the Tamils, there is no word called Yal Pani, it should end with a nam. So they finished it off Yal Panam. So this was the history which was written in the oleolith manuscript. So while I was going through the diaries, which was like in notebooks, and it was all torn and tattered, there a vendor has written saying the same history, saying that during daytime there is a vendor coming with a instrument playing and then singing and asking for pani. My wife gives an exchange dresses and clothes with this gentleman. So it was a witness there. So these are the rare collection we had in the Jaffna Public Library. So when it got burnt, and when they approached me to come back and rebuild it, I thought it's time for me to go and collect. But to be very frank, I was not able to collect at all. It was a total failure because people didn't want to give the same valuable books to the library. The first question they asked me was, in case if it happens again, can you protect? So I couldn't give a definite answer. So this is what made me to stay back in Sri Lanka, because I am the only person who knows the rare books collection of Jaffna Public Library.
Wow. So you stayed back with a desire to serve, and not only serve, you then gave a significant portion of your life to work on reconciliation, coexistence, early warning, and this just shows that the magnitude of your character, saying you want to stay, you're not going to leave, you're going to want to serve, and we appreciate you for that kind of work. When you were working, what are some of the major moments that gave you hope and that you felt like you accomplished something, that you were making progress? What are some of those moments that kept you going?
Yes, I can give you one example. As soon as it was burnt, the library was in terrible mess with debris and dust. There were not a single book. So we got a lot of funds. That diaspora, from the World Council of Churches, everybody gave money. But we never had resources to give us helping, especially to clear this particular debris. So one day when I was seated down, I was thinking, people were saying it will take 1 year to clear this mess and so on. So I was just thinking, how do I take a step forward? Suddenly, when the students were coming in, I just casually said, I'm really stuck. Though we have all the funds, the books are there, but unfortunately we are unable to clear these debris. those children went back home and told their parents. So the following day morning, when I went to the library, I saw nearly 20 people, especially ladies, were standing there. Then when I went and asked them, why are you all waiting here? So they said, no, we heard from our children that you said that there is no one to clear these. We are there to clear. I was like thinking, how can these females carry those debris? But they had the willpower. One statement made me to go back. You know what they said? This is our temple. It's like our own shrine we are trying to come and clean. Nobody will come. We are there. So we will all get together. Our children go to school, our husbands are away. So we will come help you and clean the library. I estimated for 1 year, but when these ladies came, soon after the school, the children joined the parents. So automatically I was able to finish cleaning up the entire place within 3 months.
Wow.
So this made me to become like, oh my God. First thing that I said was, oh my God, you are existing somewhere. In the form of this crowd, you were able to do it without any, delay. According to the prediction, how we planned, we were able to take ahead because of the support of the public. The way they came forward, that really made me to get inspired to work more. We all have a time to work, but these ladies, the students, they never thought of the time. They were all working, and we also thought, okay, we will also contribute. That inspired me.
That's amazing, the willpower of them saying,
Exactly.
we will make it happen, we can make it happen. And I'm sure that could inspire anybody when you're working. When you see people sacrificing so much,
Correct.
you are inspired as well. Just speaking about how did you overcome that challenge of many people, once wrong has been done to them, once injustice is felt, it's very hard to move on beyond that. It almost feels like you're lost in that injustice, the bitterness, the hate, and you can't function anymore. But I don't see that in you at all. In fact, immediately you started working with the communities that may have been involved in the burning.
Correct.
What led you to, how can you be so forgiving and be so accepting even after such atrocities took place?
Yes, there is something called, you need to look two sides of the coin. So when it comes, while the burning took place, they must have had some sort of a brainwashed or some sort of a mental frame where they were going at a random to do it. If they were normal, I know pretty well they wouldn't have done it. So taking that into consideration, I was thinking we should not always take one side of the story and take decision and get drowned to that. Instead of come out of that, think of the people who had done the damage, why, what was the cause. Looking at that factor, just balance it, leave it, make this crowd to recover from their loss. Make it happen, prove them. If everybody starts leaving the country, there wouldn't have been anyone to rebuild the library, and now it is up and running. So that wouldn't have taken place if at that point, if I had taken that decision. That was one. Secondly, when I came over to Colombo, I thought, let the other side of the country also realize how much the people from North would love to receive them, show them the value of the knowledge that was stored there. That thing nobody knew from this side. So that was also something that I went on telling, and even in all my speeches I have included this, saying that go get the first hand impression and see what they want to give you all back. The common man, leave all the politicians, leave all the whatever the organizations that are involved in this. Just go to the civilians, speak to them, go to the grassroots, how loving they are. Even in my case, when I go to the rural villages in the south part, how they entertain, how they receive. These are things should be spoken of. So to know how to balance people and also get the good thing of individual and then march ahead. That's all I was looking at, than getting drowned and then putting a long face and what do I do from tomorrow. That wouldn't have happened within me, because I must be proud to say my parents gave me that sort of an inspiration, and they kept on saying, motivating me, go ahead, some or other you will have some light somewhere, and so it was. So with that encouragement I was able to go ahead.
It's very inspiring stuff, and I feel for the young people watching, that's a very key highlight there. Without drowning in the bitterness and hate and willowing in your sorrows and complaining about everybody else, what can I do right now? How can I help be a blessing to the rest of the community?
Exactly.
How do I be part of the solution? That was a huge lesson there for us. Moving on to talk about, when you look at the country today, you continue to serve. I'd like viewers to hear a little bit about what you're doing in Mullaitivu and Kilinochchi, and now trying to do it in the south as well. But what are some of the major challenges you feel the next generation need to tackle?
I think the education sector. That is where they have to take, not only the youth I'm talking, even the national level should take some sort of a precaution or some sort of a change. There should be a transformation immediately according to the educational system in Sri Lanka. Tell me, take one national school which introduces and talks about conflict resolution at the lower grade, at least grade 1, or I mean here we call it as 6th standard, okay, grade 6 I think. So is there a subject there? When they come up with some problem, how do you solve that? So this should be initiated. I mean, that's what I said initially, they should change the education system in Sri Lanka. That's the most important thing. As far as I'm concerned, there are a lot of economical crises, political, leave alone that, because the youth should be guided properly for them to, think through, develop themselves and become a good leaders of this country. Who is going to take part? People like Sri Lanka Unites, which says that we unite everybody. Why not get these youth into your hand, educate them, highlight such things, how to live in peace and harmony, how to take forward. If there is a problem, make them go forward to solve it without getting into their own houses and saying, oh, this is not mine, this is someone else's. No, don't train them. So the education should be changed at least at this point. If they do, I think there will be a better Sri Lanka. I hope for that.
Yeah. So in your lifetime, you have seen the ebbs and flows of conflict, of what's going on in Sri Lanka.
Yes.
From the time of the 83 riots to the Jaffna library being burnt, to the civil war, the end of the civil war, to now emerging conflicts on religious lines. You've seen it all. And when you look at that, what do you see are some common trends that seem to continue to manifest itself? And one thing we constantly talk about is how young people are brainwashed into believing this hate to be the way to move forward, and violence is their main weapon of action. How has that manifested? What has been your thought process as you've seen this happen again and again?
Yes, now see, our community, you take any ethnic group, you just take a community, they are being brainwashed throughout from their childhood. Tell me one family which allows a child to think out of the box and do anything. Have you seen in Sri Lanka? You take the other countries, the children are independent to decide what the course that they want to do. Here it is not that. The parents start giving instruction. They've been trained to and molded into that, and the children come out of the school. Again, the higher education is decided by the parents, not by the talent of the child. So then again, the child is wearing a blinker and walking along that path, guided by either party. Then they go to colleges, they come back, and then again they get caught to these leaders who are trying to manipulate them. When that happens, automatically the youth get into because they have been trained from childhood. So the best thing that I could advise, all the parents should be trained how to bring up their children, to allow them or give them the space to decide what is best for them. To start off with the food, dress, everything is decided by someone. Nobody is allowed to decide of their own. But the present trend of the students, I could see some of them are getting wiser and wiser because of the exposure that they are getting from international education system. So due to that, they are thinking out of the box. But again, there are some forces which is always either religious people, political. They picture a hero somewhat. That hero, when he or she says something, definitely they are carried away by their sweet onwards. So they feel that is how we should be here. So unless it is being trained from the childhood, definitely there will not be any change. That's what I openly told you, they should bring a change in the education system, because they have to tap it from the some preschool.
Yeah, so there seems to be a trend of young people being swayed by the sweet words of bitter people.
Exactly.
And that's been destroying our country time and time again. So for the young men and women out there watching this show, listening to your life story and the work that you've done, what are some concluding remarks you'd like to make to them? How would you like to encourage them? Especially somebody saying, you know, I want to do that kind of work. I also want to contribute to society. How can I do it? And do I have what it takes? What would you tell them?
Yes, don't delay. If you want to do anything, please initiate it immediately. Don't wait till someone comes from the heaven and drops down and takes your hand and invites you. No, that will never happen. If you decide, your neighbor might be in need of something, start it off from that. Go to your neighbor's place, talk to them nicely. Ask them what do they want. Can I help you something? Can I get you a glass of water even at least? There are things that they will be in need. If you initiate it from today onwards, there will be lot of openings, there will be lot of people coming to know about you, and they will start saying, okay, this person is there available to help you. Down the street, they will start, the word of mouth start passing. So start doing it, but initiate it today itself. Don't delay. Don't wait for someone to come and hold your hand and take you around and teach you what you should do. No, don't wait for that. This is my humble advice for the entire future generation.
Well, thank you very much. Extremely wise words, and we thank you for your inspiring story and life. And we know that the students who are watching this will be inspired, and they would want to continue to make an impact in this country. So thank you for your time. We really appreciate you. And for the young men and women out there, don't delay. Today is your opportunity. The time for justice is always ripe and always now. And we hope that you will stand up and you will be the change that our nation is desperately in need of. We wish you all the best. We thank Ms. Ragunathan once again, and we pray that all of us will see a nation that we can all be proud of. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back with one more interview at the end of today in our Outstanding Role Models TV series. Talk to you soon.